Are you worried about today's dire financial situation?
Put simply, I would argue the Biden economic plan is working.
The storms on Wall Street continued today after regulators seized the assets of Silicon Valley Bank, marking the largest bank failure since the 2008 financial crisis.
Do you worry you'll have enough to pay your mortgage, pay your children's college tuition, enough to retire?
I believe our banking system remains strong.
Regional banks in focus once again today as the market digests the fallout of the First Republic failure.
You have questions, we have answers. It's the Gold Standard with Ken Russo and Jennifer Horn.
Thank you so much for joining us. It is the Gold Standard radio program. I'm Jennifer Horn. That is my, I'd love to say, like, witty, talented, handsome co-host, Ken Russo.
Face for radio.
A face. Hey, you know what? That's the best part of radio. Although now we stream and you can watch the video version of this show as well. Go to YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, and you can stream us as well as listening on this very radio station. So thanks for being with us.
Yeah.
Now,
we have a little special guest this week, too.
Do you love it? Okay, so if you are watching the video, you will see him. If not, we will describe. Where's Hunter?
Yeah.
Hunter Biden is sitting over your shoulder, Ken.
Hunter Biden action figure. Yes. He's
yeah,
here.
not the real one.
Yeah.
Now he comes. This is so great. You guys are so clever over at Midas Gold Group. You come up with the best Christmas gifts. And this was one of those Christmas gifts. You sent one to me. I have one. You brought your Hunter Biden action figure in, and he comes with a multitude of things. You have his artwork.
Yeah,
you,
right here. And this is how obscene our financial system is. This was worth $500,000 at one time.
In funny money is what we call it.
Yeah.
In
made up money.
In access.
Helicopter
allegedly.
money,
Right.
Monopoly money, fake money.
He comes with everything, though. Parmesan cheese, a certain, accoutrement. This is a family show, but you can use your imagination as to what kind of accessories Hunter might come with.
We thought we'd have a little bit of fun with Hunter today. Why not, right?
Well, he's going to be sitting over your shoulder for the duration of the show, but we have lots on tap today, including what is probably, I think, one of the most, it's a jaw-dropping, kind of scary topic, the elimination of your financial freedom, financial privacy. And a lot of people don't know what that means, but certainly we're going to jump into it and talk about why that is a problem and what you can do to kind of hedge your bets and keep some of your own privacy within your transactions, within your investment portfolio. But before we jump in, Ken, we always want to talk about why your money today is just buying less really than it ever has.
Yeah, like why is it buying half like it did 20 years ago? Why is that? Is it maybe because we just print money out of thin air and our paper money keeps losing value?
Doesn't sound like us. What are you talking about?
Remember, it was done temporarily in 1971 by world-famous Tricky Dick.
Here he is.
Directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
That's Richard Nixon, Tricky Dick.
Says it all.
1971. And a lot of the conversation this week, if you are paying attention to the news or you're listening to the radio, a lot of the conversation has been back and forth. Democrats, I like to call him Chairman Joe Biden and his administration, all trying to figure out a solution. They want to raise the debt ceiling again. And there are so many zeros now when we're talking about our deficit and how much the country is spending that it's almost impossible for the human brain to actually take into account what's going on. But you make the claim that it really doesn't matter what they agree on. And I want to talk about that because one of the things that stuck out to me is that this deal that was reached between Speaker McCarthy and Joe Biden would have cut the deficit more than any other time in history, yet it's only like a tiny little bit, which tells you that the government is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and spending and spending and spending more.
Yeah, and it's kind of going exponential, Jen. Let's look at my notes here. Back in 1980, federal deficit was $900 billion when President Reagan took office. And by the year 2000, 20 years later, it was at $10 trillion. And now we're close to $40 trillion, I would say, probably over the next 3 to 4 years. So
let that sink in.
Yeah.
I mean, can we even understand $40 trillion?
Well, if we were taking in $40 trillion worth of tax revenues, then it would be okay because that would be a balanced, plan.
Which Democrats may love to do, by the way. They do love to look for enhanced revenues. That's what they call them.
Yeah, right. Well, they're looking for something, but I don't know if they're going to find it. But the debt situation has increased by 31 times, but at the same time, our tax revenues have only increased by 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
So where's all the other money coming from?
That's an interesting one. What's happening, Ken?
Has anybody ever asked that question?
I don't think so. Where is the money coming from?
Well, it's coming out of thin air.
Cranking up the printer.
24/7, 365. Let's just keep this machine and this printing press going. I mean, and unfortunately, that's what's destroying and dwindling what we have. Not to mention, how do we protect it? Is it safe? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Is it all going to come tumbling down? What is it exactly? Where's my money? All of these things are why people should be saying, hey, what's exactly going on here? Should I hedge my bets? And that's where gold comes in, Jen.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if the dollar's going to last, if it's going to pop at some point. And gold, silver, precious metals are a real currency that you can hold on to. You can do it privately, private transactions. You hold them in your safe. And then, God forbid, if something does happen, none of us want to see anything happen to the economy. Of course, we're just already seeing the warning signs. They're flashing at us. And if something terrible were to happen, you'd have gold, silver, precious metals to actually use as currency, not just use for your investments. And this is why gold is such a great thing to look into. And Midas Gold Group is a great place to go. MidasGoldGroup.com. You can always give a phone call from anywhere in the entire country. Write the number down. We'll be giving it out during the program. 855-322-4653, 855-322-4653, or MidasGoldGroup.com. But let's talk about the elimination of any financial privacy and whether or not we trust this government to make decisions, Ken.
Well, that's an important point, Jen. Do we trust our money? Do we trust the government? Do we trust our leaders who are calling the shots here? No, that's a very, very
I know what my answer
question. Is. Look over my shoulder here. That's a little bit apart.
Where's
what's
Santa?
Going. Yeah. So what I would say is, when in trouble, let's put these questions and these problems in our leaders' hands. Let's see what they have to say a little bit about what's going on.
Love it.
Joe Biden has been in Ireland this week, and I'm about to play for you what might be the most disturbing line ever to come out of the president's teleprompter. And he still managed to screw it up. Here it is.
So thank you all. God bless you all. Let's go lick the world. Let's get it done.
I thought he was going to say, let's go Lakers.
Let's go Lakers.
Yeah.
That would have made more sense because, of course, let's go lick the world is not the guy that you want presiding over our financial future, over our national security, our domestic policy. The man who literally thinks the world is an ice cream cone.
Yeah, and
he likes chocolate chip, by the way.
This has been building up for a long time.
Sure.
And it almost feels like, are we coming to a tipping point? We had banks that failed at the beginning of the year. Banking system's very unsound. We're going towards digital money, and now it's kind of really quiet.
Yeah, it's like the what should I say? The calm before the storm, as President Trump would say.
Yeah,
like the wet water that
That's
comes.
Right. Yeah, he'd say something like that.
I always love when President Trump talks about water because it's always very wet.
Yeah. I'd love to hear what he talks about in private because that would probably really be interesting.
It might actually curl some of our hair, maybe, but who knows?
May.
All right, so President Trump says the calm before the storm. This is it, and this is really what we're hearing. Everything's just kind of going.
Yeah, real quiet, and these decisions have to be made, and deficit ceiling, debt ceiling issues. What's the deficit? How much are we bringing in? How much are we spending? What are the agendas? Where's the money going? We all remember the Build Back Better plan, $1.7 trillion. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that next week of some of the things that were actually in there.
But wait, I thought it was not going to cost us anything.
Well, it doesn't.
And
inflation's zero, and they're doing such a great job. And
that's what we were told, that 1.7 trillion, right, was not going to cost us a cent. But these are our leaders who continue to make gaffes. And so, again, we ask you,
right,
should the decisions be made by the guy responsible for this?
Well, why not? I mean, here's some more proof. Let's hear what JB has to say. You can call him Joe Biden.
We're waiting for relief.
I got them $1.9 trillion relief so far.
They're going to be getting checks in the mail that are consequential this week for childcare. A lot has been happened already, number one. Number two, I'm going to fight like heck. Just remind them, I wrote the bill on the environment. Why would I not be for it? Guess what? Employers can't find workers. I said, yeah, pay them more. This is an employees bargaining chip now. What's happening? They're going to have to compete and start paying hard-working people a decent wage. Unchain Wall Street.
You can't get enough of this guy. I
No,
mean,
and if it kept going, you'd see him falling upstairs and falling off of bikes.
don't forget sniffing people. That's always one of my personal favorites. And I'm sure probably, throwing in a few bucks for the big guy. Hi, Hunter, behind you. Again, Hunter Biden's in the studio with us today. At least his action figure is.
HB.
Exactly. But with all of this, our money is in a system that is dying. It's not keeping up. So what do we do about it, Ken?
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny that we can talk about stuff, but in essence, it's affecting every single American out there. And
that's right.
Our savings is dwindling, and how's the health and safety of our money? And is the whole system just sick and rotten? And why is our money just constantly losing more and more value? And that's why we're here. And the answer is yeah. And what are we going to do about it? We're going to print more money. We're going to spend more money until the whole system caves in. That sounds to me what the plan is.
And if the system caves in, what people want to consider is something that is going to protect them. And that's where gold, silver, precious metals come in.
Yeah. A financial independence. Where can you get some privacy? Financial freedom does matter. You have to hedge your bets here, Jen. And the question I would ask you is, why would you keep all of your assets in a system that is so sick, so manipulated, and probably, could something very bad could happen at any time? Why would you do that?
And why would you keep all of your investments really in one basket? We're not here to give you financial advice, but we're here to talk about the system and the news that we keep hearing and try to figure out how we can help protect ourselves. And a great way to get started in this is by calling Midas Gold Group, MidasGoldGroup.com. Also call from anywhere in the country, 855-322-4653. We talked last week about Catherine Austin Fitts, who says that this is the role for gold, right, is to provide this protection for people.
Yeah, digital concentration camp. That's what she said. The digital system is a digital concentration camp.
Absolutely. 855-322-4653, MidasGoldGroup.com. More up ahead with the gold standard. Jennifer Horn, Ken Russo.
Yes.
Dr. Gorka here. You're listening to The Gold Standard with your hosts, Ken Russo from veteran-owned Midas Gold Group and Jennifer Horn. Owning private money in the form of physical gold and silver is perhaps more important than ever to your long-term financial security. As U.S. banks fail, the Biden administration sends hundreds of billions abroad while depleting our strategic oil reserves. However, the biggest financial threat may be coming from within: central bank digital currency. The patents have been filed and the big banks have released plans for implementation. Midas Gold Group sees tyrannical implications, the end of cash, the end of financial privacy, big government able to see your every purchase. Could there be ties to social credit? Hear more commentary on the political and economic issues that affect your financial security right here on the Gold Standard. You can create your own Gold Standard with a call to Midas Gold Group, 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653, MidasGoldGroup.com.
Welcome back. It is the Gold Standard Radio Show. I'm Jennifer Horn, joined by Ken Russo and a very special in-studio guest this week, Ken.
The man.
The man, the myth, the legend.
HB. I'd hire him.
The guy who secured 10% for the big guy. The little guy.
Rightfully so.
Hunter Biden.
Got to take care of the big guy.
We call him Junior maybe around these parts.
We call him a lot of things, but yeah, you can call him Junior.
So no surprise, Hunter Biden is actually not in the studio with us, but his action figure is. He is.
Do you approve of gold, Hunter?
Mm-hmm. He approves. He approves of anything. Gold, diamonds. He'll take anything. You just have to hand it to him. Put
Johnny
it right in his
Walker,
pocket.
he said.
Johnny Walker,
Yes.
he's into that. Probably some illicit other things that he'd like. But all right, so we have a little fun. Hunter Biden's in studio. If you stream this show, you can on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts as well. You can get the Gold Standard radio show and, of course, listen here on this station. But, Ken, you've been talking to me. And, look, I'm new to all of this. I have to ask the dumb questions. You've been saying, Jen, Fed now, Fed now, Fed now. What in the heck is the Fed now system, and why should it be important to all of us?
Well, the whole system's changing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we could actually said the program was, well, something is happening in July that is going to happen for the first time. And our monetary system, the way we know it, is changing.
Right.
And that means less privacy, more monitoring. Is Big Daddy watching every single move we make?
Big Joe, the big guy?
Joe Biden, Big
Joe
JB.
Biden, yeah.
But the situation is that's where we're headed for whatever reason. Let's not even worry about what the reason is.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where we're headed. Other countries are making it a point to use their local currencies, as they're saying it, more.
Yep.
Countries like the BRIC nations are doing business more outside of the dollar, and they're doing more business, you know, within their local currencies, the yuan and other sorts of things. Other countries are, well, their central banks are buying up a lot of gold. If the monetary system changes, maybe some new form of money will be backed by physical asset like gold. But the bottom line is that the dollar is losing its grip on world reserve status. Now, that takes time.
Right.
You know, but they say you go bankrupt slowly, then gradually, then all at once.
Now, if that dollar implodes, is this the great excuse by the federal government then to usher in a digital currency system?
Well, it might be easier to have control when everybody is so dependent on someone else because they're broke. I mean,
that's right.
Or confused, or they don't know what's going on.
And they're already starting to trick us with this, with the digital currency, with a system where the government can actually see into our lives, right, and get rid of our privacy. We saw it with the truck drivers in Canada. The government in Canada was able to go in and shut down their bank accounts. Here in California, you and I have been lamenting the fact that you can get a driver's license now as part of your digital wallet. These digital wallets, which sound convenient, are getting us all primed and ready for a digital currency, which the government will be able to watch.
Yeah, and a lot of the system right now is already digital. You know, very few people do business in cash, you know, and obviously the people that do, I mean, that does offer privacy, and that's why the government probably would like to eliminate that. You know, I wouldn't be surprised in the next few years if the government said, hey, listen, you have cash, you have to turn it into the digital system or put it in a bank account, or else, you know, sorry, it's worthless. Who knows? We'll have to see.
So for those people who are unsure and who are just learning about digital money, digital currency, what are the explicit dangers to people?
Well, did you ever go to the bank and try to take out more than $10,000 or put in more than $10,000?
I can honestly tell you, no, I have not. Now, I did try to move some money I was gifted from a bank account from my grandparents to another. It was ridiculous. It was really hard.
Well, here's something very simple.
Look, I love the visual
Look at
aids.
yes. Something that I had here. It's a Form 104. It's called the Currency Transaction Report.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what. This is basically everything that you need to know about a person.
Mm-hmm. It's like it looks like a job application almost.
Probably worse.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the question is if this is in place now, what's it going to mean in the future when it comes to moving your money around? I want to take some money out of the bank. You saw what happened to the system when people wanted to move their money out of the bank, right?
Right.
It's not there. And the system folds. Those particular banks needed to be rescued, and guess what? They printed more money and they put it in depositors' accounts. What a solution. Kick the can down the road.
Mm-hmm.
But privacy and financial freedom, if the government is able to turn our car on and off eventually, and that was also in the Biden plan, why couldn't they turn our money on and off? You know,
right.
If you're a particular political organization that you support, or a particular religious organization that you support, or maybe they just don't like you or what you have to say.
And sadly, governments are all chasing control now, right? They want more money, more power, more control. And so the privacy and the freedoms that we knew are starting to go away kind of incrementally. And they're tricking us into saying, well, this is a new technology. Doesn't it sound
right,
great?
For our benefit.
Look at all of these benefits. But do you trust that Joe Biden's 87,000 IRS agents that he really desperately wants wouldn't come after conservatives or people of a certain point of view? Do you trust that the FBI doesn't go after certain people and not others? Do you trust the government? The guy you just heard said, I want to go out and lick the world. Do we trust that government to tell you how much money you can put into a bank account, take out of a bank account, what you can do, if you can have access to it? I mean, imagine with the government already meddling in social media, getting involved during the COVID pandemic with Twitter or Facebook, it's possible. And this is a what if scenario, but what if you post something that makes you a danger? Could the government shut down your bank account if we're in a digital currency situation?
Well, they'd have a better chance to do that.
They can't shut down your gold.
Well, no, it's in your own possession, and that's why it's important to get some assets out of a monitored system. It's important to get some assets out of something, that you don't control. I mean, what if we go to the bank and there's a chain on the door and the bank is locked and we have no access to our money, no access to our safety deposit box? When is it going to open? Yeah. What if there's a hack? What if there's a pulse? So there's a lot of things that just tell me, to any reasonable person, why would you want to have all of your assets wrapped up in a system like that? Maybe you have an IRA.
Right.
Maybe you have an old 401k. Maybe you have large savings. Why would you want to have all of your assets in a system that obviously is headed into a direction where you're going to have no control and no privacy? And to me, that doesn't make any sense, Jen.
Diversification can be a great solution in that case. And that's why we tell you here to talk to Midas Gold Group, MidasGoldGroup.com. You can get more information about that. And you can call them from anywhere, 855-322-4653, 855-322-GOLD, MidasGoldGroup.com. You can call, you can go online, you can go in person if you are in Arizona or California. There are storefronts to do that as well. And you're not kidding about this government oversight and overreach. A story this week says disgusting infrastructure bill installs kill switches in all new vehicles, turning America into a police state. This is real. This is ripped from the headlines. These cars that are dependent on the government, your electric stoves that are going to be coming, your electric heaters.
Right.
Gets too hot outside, gets too cold outside. Are they going to flip them off?
Well, what's the agenda? I mean, it just comes down to good versus evil, you know, Jen? And the thing is that we have a certain amount of money that we've tried to protect and save and do the right thing. It would be a real shame to just see it either lose a lot of value or just disappear. And like you said, we're not giving financial advice. This is our opinion. It's people's money. They can do whatever they want with it. But advisors really don't talk about owning physical gold. Brokers don't talk about owning physical gold. They like to talk about paper assets that they can generate fees with by trading different types of assets back and forth. Yeah. That's what they do. So I would just tell people right now, you still have an opportunity to get in front of this. There's a pretty good chance that it's going to end very badly. We'll see. If not, our money's definitely going to buy a lot less in the future. I have no doubt about that, just like it's bought less over the last 20 years or even over the last few years.
Right.
If they continue to print and spend trillions and trillions more, which they are going to, what do you think's going to happen to the value of your dollar? It's going to go down.
What we're talking about is a system that is sick, a system that is not going in the right direction. We have leadership clearly not going in the right direction. Again, out worrying about ice cream cones rather than people, their finances, our safety, both financial and from a national security perspective. And now we're talking about monitoring. Hunter's coming over for a little meeting. But you've got a sick monitor system that's going on now. Think about gold and precious metals, or at least have a conversation. MidasGoldGroup.com, 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. MidasGoldGroup.com. And I see Hunter's moved over in front of you now.
Yeah, he's just moved over a little bit. He's making some adjustments, just like we're saying.
I like
to people.
he's wearing like a red scarf. That's just to keep him warm, right?
Well, there's some famous pictures of him with a red scarf on, but that's
in a bathtub or something like that, I believe.
But like I said, it's a situation where we can do something about it.
Yep.
And what harm would it be to hedge some of your bets?
What would Hunter do? Hunter would hedge his bets.
He would let it all ride.
Don't forget to check out MidasGoldGroup.com, MidasGoldGroup.com, 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-GOLD. You can go see him in California, Arizona, or MidasGoldGroup.com. Thanks so much for joining us today. For Ken Russo, I'm Jennifer Horn. Thanks for being with us on The Gold Standard.
Yes.